So before I actually go ahead and design anything in Vizrt Artist, I know that I'm going to need some images to work with or some textures to work with for this design tutorial. You may already have your own textures that you want to use. If not, you can certainly follow along, create them in Photoshop like we do here, and then you'll have your textures. Some of you may be on that point as well, so no need to do that if you already have your textures. But I'm just going to begin here by creating a new texture, and I'm just going to have the dimensions at 128 times 128, RGB color, and the resolution is 72. The first thing that I know that I want to do is create a gradient. So I'm just going to come into the gradient tool, choose a black and white gradient, hit OK, and then just spread my gradient out here. I'm going to go ahead and save that. So we'll call this one grade 1. And I'm just going to go ahead and save it as a JPEG for now. And I'm going to create another gradient here, and this one's going to be a little bit different, so I'm just going to use more of a white to gray gradient here. I'll use the gradient tool and spread it out. I want to keep an alpha channel with this one, so I'm going to do a little something different with this. So I'm going to include it in alpha channel, and I'm just going to feather this alpha channel with it. So I'm just going to go to modify feather, and we'll feather it around a 6 here. And I'm going to my channels here and just create an alpha channel with it. So if I check the alpha channel, you can see that there's a little bit of red behind there. I'm just going to go ahead and save this one as gradient 2. And since we have the alpha channel, I'm going to save it as a TIFF with the alpha channel. Now I'm done with that, so I'm just going to go ahead and close it. I'm going to create another new one here. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. This time we're just going to make it 64 by 64, same resolution. And we're just going to create a little split box here. So what I'm going to do is just draw a little rectangle around here and fill the one color with black and keep the other side of it white. So I'll just fill this right here, and we'll just go ahead and save this one as well. I'm going to call this split. You can call it whatever you want. I could save it as whatever. I don't have an alpha channel, so I'm just going to save it as a JPEG. I'm done with that. Let's create just one or two more here. I know also that I want some type of white image, so I'm just going to create another new image here, 128 by 128. And what I'm going to do is just kind of use that white that it created and copy this layer here, and I'm just going to turn on our layer effects. I'm just going to use the inner shadow here a little bit, take out the distance, the size, and the choke a little bit so that I have some sort of gradient on the inside there, or a little bit of black around the edges. I'm going to go ahead and save this one as well. We'll save this one as a TIFF or a JPEG, whichever you choose. We'll just call this one white box. I'm not going to save it with any layers, and that one's done. I'm going to create another new texture here, and this time we're going to go 200 by 200. Now I bought an image off a stock image site here, and it's a hexagon type image. To get this to fit my needs, I know that these lines are a little bit thin, so I'm just going to go ahead and stroke these to add a little bit more color to it, or thickness to it. So I'm just going to stroke it to the outside of 1. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this into my new 200 by 200 image. I'm going to scale this down to about 20%, and I'm just going to reposition it over here around the left corner here. So let's try something like this. This should be repeating. If you do need it to make some adjustments, you can always use your filter offset in your settings here to get it just right. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'll just save this one as a TIFF2. I'll call this hexagon, and I'll just save it without the layers and hit save. So that one's all done as well. I have a couple other images here that I want to make. One is just a couple of extra logos, so I made a quick template here with a backplate and threw some logos in here. So as I come in here and switch these off, these are just some logos that we'll be able to switch in and out in case we need them for our project. So you can go ahead and kind of use your own logos if you have them and such as that. So I did create them, and we'll import them later. I also have another set of images here, and these are some headshots that I created. So I went and got some headshots and I made a template here, and basically what I have are headshots with a key channel. So I cut the background out. Now you may not want to cut the background out. You may use the background for your headshots, but all personal preference of how you want your design to look. So I saved out the several headshots here, and we'll be using them throughout the design as well. So now that we have these textures actually made, our next step would be to go into Vizrt Artist and actually import these into the scene.